and today's session is social media measurement that actually helps decision making. I work for Grizzard Communications Group. I'm a digital marketing specialist there. Before I started at Grizzard, I went to the University of North Carolina, and after that I worked for a couple agencies and organizations in North Carolina, where I did everything from print ads to digital marketing to press releases, and now I focus mainly on digital marketing. You can contact me here. I've got my email address, Twitter account, Grizzard's Twitter account, and also my office number. I'm probably not going to be in the office, so if you need to get in touch with me these other ways, we'll probably be better if you have any questions after the session. Also, I tend to rush through these things, so I'm hoping by the end of the presentation we can have an answer and question kind of service go on, and maybe an open discussion about maybe goals that you guys are needing to have tracked, or what you're tracking and what you're doing, and we can discuss on a larger scale. So some of the companies I've worked with so far are the Salvation Army, Intercontinental Hotels Group, National Parkinson's Foundation, Reader's Digest, Union Rescue Mission, AT&T, and the American Heart Association. So I've done kind of 50-50 between commercial and nonprofit, and now I focus mainly on nonprofit organizations. Some of the things we're going to go over today are setting goals, tracking engagement, and tracking those goals. One of the main things for social media is engaging. It's not supposed to be a mainly donation fundraising type medium, but more engaging and organically driving those funds. So it's, reaching out to your constituents, reaching out to your donors and volunteers, and creating that relationship with them. In 2011, Blackbaud did a study, and it showed the #1 reason that an individual was motivated to donate was because they felt a personal or emotional connection with that organization. So social media gives us a great means to do that and to build that personal connection with our constituents and bring new people on board. So again, it's about hugging our constituents, our donors, making that relationship with them. But one of the main things I hear from my clients a lot, and one of the things that my clients say that their higher ups need, are actual money results. This is something that we will go over, of how we can track these goals and how we can see how much money we're bringing in from social media. And we're also going to learn how to track engagement as well. So it's not always going to be rainbows and unicorns. It's going to be hard work, and we're going to have to actually measure and use tools and spend time doing this. Some of the tools that we can use, there are insights built into Facebook. It's a free tool that we hopefully should all be using. There are also tools like Social Grow, where we can see how many of our followers are online on Twitter. EdgeRank Checker, that will give us recommendations based on our previous posts. And things like Twitterland, where it will show us kind of where our posts are broken up and what we're putting out there. Is everyone using Facebook Insights right now, if you have a Facebook page? All right, good. So obviously we can see that this first post had the highest reach, but then we can look down and also see that this post here had a smaller reach, but it had more engaged users and more virality. We can see that the engaged users responded more to this photo than they maybe did the link above. So those are great things to take into consideration when planning out your social media strategy. We can also see from Facebook Insights demographics. So here we see that this client had mainly females from 18 to 24. That's great, but maybe we're trying to target males 55 to and up. So that can tell us that we need to rearrange these messages. We need to maybe track better and target better. A tool I like to use for Facebook is EdgeRank Checker. This is actually, it's about $30 a month per page that you manage. And it will give you recommendations on your previous work of how many times you should post today, what type of posts, and also the times that are working best for you, along with next best and third best times as well. EdgeRank Checker will also lay it down in a graph like this for you, where you can see that maybe 7 p.m. on Saturday is your best time to post. That's when you're getting the most engagement. But maybe you're not doing it on Saturdays. Maybe you don't want to do put your post out on Saturdays, this is something that will change over time as you keep posting and as you keep testing, and something you probably need to take into consideration. EdgeRank Checker will also go through your best and worst metrics. So you can see here that it lays out impressions, likes, engagements, post types, comments, and it will tell you when the best times and days to do these things are, along with when you're getting the worst. This will change also as you're posting and testing. It also tells you what your engagement looks like as you post more times during the day, in terms of impressions, likes, comments. So depending on what you're tracking, if you're going for impressions, this will work. Comments, likes. A free tool I like to use for Twitter is actually Social Bro. You can use this as an extension into your Chrome browser. You can also download this program onto your PC or Mac. One of the main features I use here is it shows us when are our followers online. And you can update this every day, every week. So we see here that these two black dots are when we have the majority of our followers online. It'll also go into your group and say, okay, you've got 4 people online right now. And from those 4 people, they have 1.3 million followers combined. So you can go out and actually target those people in real time and say, you know, reach out to them, try to put out information that you want them to retweet, and now you've taken 4 people and reached 1.3 million people. Yes?
Is this for Twitter or Facebook?
This is for Twitter.
Sorry.
Yeah. Another feature that comes with Social Bro are your demographics. This client was actually based in Chicago, but we can see that the people that are following them are kind of all over the place on the East Coast and all around the world. So from this, you can see like what's everyone doing and what are they coming to you for. Maybe someone in England shouldn't be following you. Are you really putting out information for someone in England if you're based in Chicago? Maybe not, but you might be an international organization. You might want to lead these people to maybe a district or a core around them and actually give them a reason of why they're following you and point them in the right direction to interact with your organization better. It'll also go through your famous followers. For this client, we have President Obama, the Chicago Bulls, and Dunkin' Donuts. It doesn't really matter what your political affiliation is. If the president's following you, that's kind of a big deal. If we, you know, I don't really know how to get Obama to retweet, you know, something, but we have him following us. There's a high likelihood that he is going to interact with us or do something for us, and that'll be a great way to get your organization out there just by looking at these famous followers and figuring out a strategy of how you can work with them. Maybe you just start tagging Quaker Oats in a post if it's relevant to what you're doing. You can use these in multiple different ways just to try to build that relationship with other brands that maybe have a higher following than you or a higher, you know, clout than you'd have. So all of this is great for tracking engagement and likes and how to reach out to your people. But again, we come to the problem of where's the money? Where are we getting money from these hours we're putting into social media or the money we're putting into social media? And from there, I say use Google Analytics. Is everyone using Google Analytics for their website here? Do we have any like advanced users that have gone pretty deep into setting goals or funnels? Okay. So along with Google Analytics, they offer Google URL Builder. From here, we can enter our website URL. We can create a campaign source. So if you're putting out links on Twitter, you want to attach something to that link that says they came from Twitter. I wouldn't suggest just putting Twitter in here, maybe making up your own terminology for it. That way, when you go into the back end of analytics, you can search for that term and know where it come from. If you search for Twitter, you're not going to get people that have come just from your links, but you're going to get everyone that's come from Twitter. Along with campaign medium, you can have this if just your campaign name, if you need to mix that up a little bit, if you have other things running to that. Once you insert these things in, it will give you this URL down here. And agenda. This URL is going to send everyone that clicks it to your website URL or the URL you want people to send to, but it's attached all this code to the end that adds your campaign source, your campaign medium, and your campaign name. It's not going to do anything different, but it's going to allow you to track these people once they get on your site. So from this, if you're sending out links on Twitter and you want them to eventually get to your thank you page or your store or whatever on your site, this is a great way to do that. You can actually track their movement through your site from entering. Once you get into Google Analytics, there's also custom segments that you can set up for Twitter traffic and Facebook traffic. These things are not going to be the links, so these are going to be all traffic coming from Twitter or Facebook. You can set it up for Pinterest, YouTube, whatever you want to track those people that are coming into your site. So you can say, well, this month we had 30% of visitors came from Facebook. If they're coming from our site to Facebook, obviously we're doing something right on Facebook, and hopefully those people are, hopefully those people are converting to do what you want them to do on your site. You can track these through goals. I set up a contact us goal for our page at grizzard.com just to see who's coming to our site and ending up at our contact page. Now this might be different if you want to track your thank you page from donations, or you just want to track your donation page or your blog. You can take this, enter it in, you enter your URL destination, and it will give you a custom report of the bounce rate and just the behavior of these people that have come to this page. This is what it looks like once you get inside. You give it a name, you put your URL in there. It's a little tricky, you wouldn't put grizzard.com/contact, you just put /contact because it's going to use the site that it's actually on, that the code's implemented on right now. And you can give it a value. So say you have this set up for your thank you page and you have an average donation of $50, $100, $200. You can give that value. So when it sends you out that report, it will say you had 65 people complete this goal and that equals $6,500 or whatever value you put in there. It'll also let you break it out by where these people are going. For us, contact us, the most people came from Google. LinkedIn brought 7. We didn't have a lot of social media traffic to the contact us page. It's actually probably a poor page to track since contact information more than likely is already on your Facebook or Twitter or whatever social media you have. Along with goals, you can go a little bit deeper with funnels. So maybe you're sending people to your blog page on your site, and that blog page has strong call to actions. It's sending people a lot to the donation page. You can set that final step to your thank you page and set up a funnel. So if you want them to go from Facebook to, to your about page, then to your blog, and then to your thank you page after donating, you can set that all up right here. So you can specifically say, we spent X amount of dollars and sent 65 people to our thank you page at an average rate of $100 a person. That right there shows you what's going on. You can go a little bit deeper with this also. If you go back to the original goal of the just thank you page, maybe you say, okay, we had 150 people visit the site and all, and 50 of those people went to our thank you page. You take those 50 people, and maybe these are people that were brought in from those Google URLs that you posted on Facebook and Twitter. Maybe they were just average traffic. And you can say, out of these 50 people, a fifth of them, 10 of them, visited more than 10 pages on our site, and those spent more money on our thank you page, and they spent more money donating. So maybe you need to figure out a way to keep these people on your site a little bit longer. But you at least see how many people have come to your site, what they've done there, and how much they've spent. So this is just the first screenshot that I took after setting up this goal. So in the first day we had 65 people. And we can actually go in and segment those out and see where they came from and see their activity on our site and what they've done. Does anyone have any questions? Has anyone set up things like this before?
I'm trying for this. The time that I set it up, it has to do like PDFs. It has to be sent to the PDFs. It has to be a page on your website.
Yeah.
So.
Or it has to be a page that you're tracking in Google Analytics.
Right. So so that, and it's a little bit confusing for our website, because we use Convio and we use, a different server, so we have like some pages that are donation forms from Convio, and then we have pages that are different. So it gets really confusing.
Can you change that
Yeah, but it would have to go through Convio to get it.
to do your whole site? Okay. And yes.
How is setting up a goal different than just tracking one page on a certain time frame? For example, we do a live stream, and I can, on that day, I can tell, I just said that day, the Google Analytics, that's entered in that page, I can see how some of the people are activating for it, and I can see some that already. So is it worth doing the extra work for the goal?
I think so, because with the goal, you can set that funnel and you can actually set the path that you want them to take. So if it's something like a direct page, and you're just broadcasting that page out, I think what you did would be correct, just looking at that page and looking at that. But if it's more of like the organic, kind of revenue driving, and you're not necessarily just sending out the donation page or sending out the blog, but you want to track their actual movement through your site to get there, I think goals and funnels is an easier way to do that.
I have a question. Esther.
Yes.
Does this kind of guide you through setting it up, or is this
Google
something-
Help will. We can go through it also, but in analytics itself, it's not very self-explanatory. You actually have to go into Google Help and search in what you need help with.
So like if you're doing goal conversion rate,
Mhm.
if you just did the / conversion rate, it will understand what you're saying and give you those stats?
And when you set up the Google goal?
Yeah.
No, this was the / contact us, and then the conversion rate came off of that page.
Okay, part of the funnel.
Right.
But all you had to do is say conversion rate and it knows what you're asking for?
No, it automatically gives you all of this. So you'll go in and it'll have your goals.
Oh, automatic.
In
Okay.
analytics, and you click, okay, I had our contact us goal, and it'll actually bring you to this page. I
Okay.
should have done it a lot sooner so we could have seen the trend, but this is over now. Yes, sir.
You have to set up the revenue funnel site, right? It's e-commerce code. So like you want to see whether or not your food is driving actual revenue dollars.
Yes, you can. So e-commerce codes, and what we found with our clients is a lot of our clients don't have time and the knowledge to go through and do the coding for e-commerce. So that's why we recommended using funnels, and it's a quick and dirty way. It's not going to give you the exact number like the e-commerce code is going to give you, but this gives you more of an average of what you can say, how many people donated, and this is our average donation of that month. But you're right, e-commerce codes do work. We just haven't had a lot of clients we've been able to implement that for. Any other questions? Okay, so I rushed through this. This is close to the end of my presentation. I've got some takeaways, some more pictures. So analyze your current following, see what they're doing online, use those tools like Social Grow, Facebook Insights, see what they're doing with you, see how you need to interact with them. Maybe photos are driving more people to your site. All those tools will help you do that. Set your goals. So these can be impressions, likes, more than likely it's going to be revenue, engagement. It might just be building your base and getting people actually talking about your brand. From there, we need to start tracking those things, looking at your analytics, looking at what people are doing, assess that analysis, and then implement it. And it's one of those things that we need to keep testing. Once you implement something, you might see that photos are doing the best, but once you implement more photos, you might see that it starts dying down and videos go up. And it's something that you need to constantly be testing and keep looking at. Which this shows here of how we plan it, we do it, we check it, and then we act on it, and it keeps going. You have to keep doing these over and over. Your followers are going to change, social media is going to change, so there's no formula that we can really put in and say, this is how it works, and this is how it's always going to happen. That's kind of my interpretation. I can go in deeper to Google goals and funnels with you guys individually if you want, or yes.
I'm not sure, getting the tools for Twitter and Facebook and Catalytics too, but do you have a recommendation for how we can overall assess our social media strategy, using Twitter, Facebook, maybe Pinterest, or just how we can overall do a big picture evaluation?
Yeah, so something we do that this might not be something that a lot of people would do. We actually have a vendor that will go out and manually pull every piece of data out of our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, the comments and retweets. And it's this huge Excel file that has all this data in it that's kind of useless. So you can do that, but that's gonna be actually a lot of work. I would say find one program per medium that will give you analytics and use that and merge that together to bring your overall strategy, because your Twitter strategy is going to be different than your Facebook strategy and your YouTube strategy, obviously. For Twitter, I use Social Bro all the time. I use it for like every single client. I use it for creating messaging calendars and engaging with their followers. And for Facebook, I use EdgeRanker along with Facebook Insights. But Insights is more just to get a really quick snapshot of what's going on, and then I take EdgeRanker and I go a little bit deeper with what people are actually doing on our site or on our Facebook page.
Is Social Grow a monthly cost?
No, it's free. EdgeRanker is $30 a month, but Social Bro is free.
And what do you use for YouTube?
For YouTube, I actually use YouTube Analytics. I think they tell me everything we need to know. You can look at how long people are staying actually on your video, and you can see what search terms are driving them to the video, whether it's a related video, whether they're coming from email. I think it's like a really broad and really nicely built out system.
Can you tell with YouTube Analytics whether they're coming from your organization YouTube channel? Or
Yes. It breaks it down to channel views, referral views, outside traffic views, search views. Has everyone used YouTube Analytics if you have a YouTube channel? I would definitely recommend using that if you're gonna be active on YouTube.
Does it show you whether people are using a mobile phone to view?
On YouTube, yes, it will. So that's the way that you can also check your annotations. Maybe you have very high amounts of annotations in your videos, but you see everyone's coming from mobile, and you're wondering why your annotations aren't working. That's probably more the reason. So it'll build that out for you also. It also lets you monetize your videos in your channel, so you can actually have donations come straight from your video, and YouTube will track those and monetize them for you. Yes.
So on Twitter, you can find out how many retweets, mentions, etc. on Twitter tweets, like the reach that a specific tweet has generated. Can you tell how many people have clicked on that link that you include in a tweet?
I would use Bitly. I would use if you're sending them back to your site, I'd use a Google URL builder and then throw that URL into Bitly, and then use that to look at your clicks.
What if you want to direct them to an outside site that's not yours?
I would still use Bitly.
And Bitly is?
It's a link shortener. So it's actually bit.ly, that's the URL. And you can set up an account, and you just drop the URL in there, and it'll give you the shortened link that you can send out, and it gives you click amounts by day and hour, also where they're coming from, like demographic wise. And
How
I
can
think
they tell demographics?
I don't know how it can tell. It just does so.
Okay.
For every link we put out, we put it through Bitly, so we can
So you
track
can track it.
bare minimum just clicks and how much return we're getting on that. Yes.
Yeah, one of the things you were showing there, you were saying that you can tell who your biggest followers are sometimes, like
Yeah.
maybe you have certain ones online. How do you know about what interests them though? Do you have some way to know?
So Social Grow does this too. I haven't played around with that too much, but it will go into, it'll give you a word cloud, which I hate, but it'll give you a word cloud of what they're talking about and some of the keywords that they're putting out there. Do you have any other questions? Okay, well, I know that was super short, but that was pretty much it. Again, you guys can reach me at my email address, my Twitter account, with any other questions you come up with, and I will, yes,
Could you put those up again?
yes, totally.